Hello everyone, welcome to Scrafterpiece. My name is Lydia, also known as Illustrata, and now we are on to our next project. Taking a bit of a break from the Jar of Ideas episodes because Big Sister was a very big project with way more footage than I thought I would have, and so wanted to do a little bit more simplistic project. So recently I got a new phone, updated from a 6S iPhone to a iPhone XR. It's not like a super crazy model, but it's a step up from what I had because my old phone was a few moments away from completely just dying on me. But I finally got a case for it. It's just a plain, flat iPhone case. And this is the case I had for my old phone. Well, my old phone's still in it. I painted it to kind of have almost like an eldritch artistic look. We got the eyes in the void with the teeth surrounding the void, and the pop socket is painted to look like a seraphim with an eye in the center. So this new episode we're going to be painting my new updated phone case. I don't know what it's going to look like. So yeah, let's go and do a more simplistic video. So let's go to the art room. So to start off this project, I ended up going with a light layer of sanding. This phone case already has a texture to it, but wanted to make sure that the paint would hold when applying it. Then I went in with a white acrylic paint to provide a base coat. I ended up doing the base coat about 2 or 3 times to make sure I wasn't missing anything, but I think it turned out pretty good. Really regretting not using tape to line off the edges before I started painting. But luckily most of my lines ended up pretty uniform, but as I got closer to the end of the base coats, they started looking a little bit more outside of the lines. To mend my mistake of not taping everything off, I ended up going in with a toothpick around the ridges to get out the excess paint and make the lines look a little bit better. And with that done, I actually went in with painter's tape and masked off the edges so I could get a clean finish. Like I said before, a note to myself to do that at the beginning of the project and not partway through it. And now onto the base coat, which is my favorite shade of pink. I think I ended up doing about 2 or 3 coats of this one as well. It was really hard to get a full solid color, and I apologize for the shine coming from my lamp. So for the primary background for this phone case, I wanted to have some sort of kind of cloudscape. So I took some teal and speckled it on there and dry brushed it a little bit with 2 different shades of teal. Just started building up the general canvas for it. Then to start on the clouds, I added in a very pastel purple color. Full disclosure, I'm not the greatest at painting out clouds, but I think they turned out pretty decent in the end. Then it was time to detail out the clouds, and I was using my favorite shade of green paint, which is Soft Apple by Folk Art. Then also added in pastel pinks, just started bringing this painting to life. One of the more subtle details was adding in this blue color to make it feel more like a sky. And also the blue ended up matching with the rest of the color palette really, really well. If you thought we were leaving it as just the sky, I'm sorry to disappoint. I was inspired by some artwork that I had seen on both Pinterest and Instagram, and I think even TikTok, of some stained glass artwork, but also the structure details on the inside of a cathedral, such as the Notre Dame. Not gonna lie, I wanted the cathedral design to look a little bit more ethereal and intricate, but my mind could not come up with a more detailed design. So I ended up putting a few subtle details such as a pair of wings and some eyes to do a nod to the Illustrata title, which we'll see later in the video. Once I had drawn out the wings, I thought they had looked symmetrical enough, but this ended up being an issue. So I'm very torn because initially I wanted to paint in the structure details with black, but now I kind of want to do like an actual color, maybe have like the lining be black. So I'm going to try it off with the color first, and then if I don't like it, then I can just paint the black over top of it. Looks pretty good so far. This painting process was probably the most relaxing part of this whole project. I'm so torn. Let's just finish this off and then we'll see where we're going with this. Now that I'm watching back this footage, it really makes me think of the Doors of Durin from Lord of the Rings. Looks pretty. Kind of looks a bit watercolor-like. Unfortunately, as I was working on the eyes, they did not look as great as I thought. Kind of when I was mentioning about how the sketch turned out better than the actual painting did, this is exactly what I mean. The eyes were a lot more spaced out than I thought they were. Eventually I'm able to fine-tune it to where it looks good and better by adding more definition and more detail to it, but this first initial pass was not fun. So the right-hand wing turned out great. It looked perfect. It got all of the lines just right. Whereas the left-hand side wing, I think I repainted it about 3 times before I was satisfied because I could not get the symmetry straight, could not get the lining right. I don't know if I just positioned them wrong or what, but then also the paint ended up, as you can see, splotching on the left-hand side, and that was really, really frustrating. Especially because I had to like go back in with the same colors that I had used on the clouds to make sure I blocked it out correctly so it didn't look weird with the background behind it. But eventually I got it right. Now it's time to go in with a black paint and line everything. And I added in a lighter pink to give more dimension to the cathedral-like structure. And then the last detail was going in with some more color on the eyes. They ended up with a bit of a watercolor effect to them, which kind of added to the stained glass effect. Last thing was to go in and seal the whole thing. I have the dragonfly glaze. I believe it is the red to purple glaze. I love this stuff. I sealed my headphones, my prior phone case with this sealant because it just makes everything so beautiful. If you want to add a little bit more protection to it, you can always mix it with some Mod Podge or some stronger sealant. And at last it was finally time to peel off the painter's tape. I ended up missing a lot of the corners, and I ended up having to go through with a toothpick again into the cracks to get the excess paint out. Moment of truth. Hello. Satisfying click to place. Wonderful. Very happy with this. Looks very pretty, but also very simplistic. A very simple video. Alrighty, so that is a wrap. It was a very simple build, very quick. Just did it in an afternoon / evening, so very happy with it. I've had this phone case for a few months now, so being able to repaint it and have it to my liking instead of just a plain case, I quite like it. I'm hoping it doesn't scratch as easy as it sometimes can, but time will tell. I will be going to a vintage market in a few weeks with my sister to help support her in her vintage sales that she does, and she has a vintage bus, so I'm intending on documenting the process, so honestly that might be my next video. We'll have to see, because that's coming up pretty soon. So anyway, I hope you all have an artsy lovely day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!